Hey BookTube, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and sorry, it's been probably like a week since I last updated you guys, but um, I was at my grandma's, which I think I mentioned in passing. We ended up not staying as long as I was going to because my parents were going to go on a trip overseas. I think it was overseas. And they decided to cancel it because with this whole thing that's going on, this pandemic that's been going on. And so they decided, even if they are not in the percentile of people that would get, although my dad technically is, as officially as of March 10th, he is part of the group that could get it more easily. Although my dad is a pretty healthy guy and he takes care of himself. He does what he needs to do, washes his hands, he exercises, he's as healthy as he can. He's in pretty good health, and he's not he's not like as fragile as like both of my grandmothers are more fragile than he is, but they're also in their 80s. So I ended up not staying there as long, which is probably a good thing, is I don't think my mom or I could handle, because we love my grandmother, but she can sometimes be a very frustrating person. And I did not get a lot of, I of course brought a lot of books, and I didn't get a lot of reading done, which I don't know why I didn't think about that, because what's happening is my grandma's one of those people who has to have the news on 24/7 all day and well, not all night, but all day. And I understand you need to keep informed, especially with what's going on, so yeah, you definitely need to pay attention. But I don't think you need to watch it all day long. And that's even not during situations like this. She will watch the news. It's the only thing she ever watches, except for during baseball season, which is coming up. She will watch baseball, but that's not on all the time. I mean, the games are only maybe in the middle of the day or like at night, well, in the evening. But other than that, baseball does not. It's only on for a few hours, depending on how long the game is. So that's the only other thing she watches. I mean, my grandpa didn't even watch the news. My grandfather, he just would watch, he was big on history and westerns and stuff like that, so that's what he would watch. It's like I said, I know you need to keep informed, I understand that, but you don't need to watch the news 24/7. So, because of that, all of us, I mean, even my dad said, no, you shouldn't watch the news all the time because it will just make you depressed. Because the way things are going, not just with what's going on currently with this whole pandemic, but also all the other stuff, like the election, and, people aren't happy with our president, and the Republicans and Democrats are basically on each other's throats because of who our president is, and that's all I'm going to say about that. And it's just, she watches it then, but even before then, when stuff like that wasn't going on, she's still watching the news all the time. It's just even worse now, because I don't want it in my brain all the time what's going on, because I want to be actually in a good mood and happy and relaxed and stuff. And actually, there are a lot of videos going out where people talk about like things that they would read so they can cope with what's going on and not think about it, like, or at least like not obsess over it to the point it makes you sick. Like, it gives you anxiety. And I don't mean sick like as in this pandemic, but sick as in sick with anxiety about it and worrying about it constantly. Yes, it's important, and it's a pandemic. But, you don't need to worry about it. It's just gonna really, thinking about it 24, like freaking out about it when it's all the time is just gonna like stress you out. So a lot of people are making videos about, things that you can read, or at least ways to understand how it all works. Nonfiction that kind of helps you deal with it and helps you understand it better. So like, anyway, she has the news on, and we try to, I always try to put on something while I'm there, watch something that, granted, yes, I will pick something that I like to watch, something that I want to watch, one of my shows or something like Friends or Supernatural or, or something like that, because those she doesn't have a lot of channels because she doesn't watch a lot of TV except for the news, so there's no point in getting like a bunch of cable channels, because then, she lives by herself, so it's like she doesn't want it, she always finds ways to save money, so she doesn't make sure that she doesn't have a lot of channels. So I will try to put on something that I like to watch, but then what ends up happening is I get distracted by it, and then end up spending the only thing I do while I'm there is get on the computer. I mean, I try to read a little bit, but even then, sometimes I will have a video playing on the background and read a little bit at the same time. And there's really not any space. I mean, there are a few spaces here and there that I can go to have but like on her deck, she just has these wooden benches that are not comfortable to sit on for too long. And then she does have a bonus room like we do, but it's not. It feels a little claustrophobic. Like, at least with my room, there's this huge window right here, and it feels roomy. It feels homey. And while her bonus room, there's a small window, and then it's always dark. It feels because it just has the small window, and then it's like the furniture is really old, so it's not. So it's like I said, it feels a little claustrophobic. So yeah, it's a little bit of privacy, but not. And then the room I stay at is, other than the bonus room, it's a one-level house, which yeah, she doesn't need stairs. And it's a one-level house. And then my room where I stay at, it is tolerable for going to sleep in, but the mattresses are old. And like I don't want to lay on and the bedspread is not, it's not smooth. It has some design on, which is kind of pretty, but it's not comfortable when you're laying on it. It can kind of scratch you a little bit. It can be itchy, and again, the mattresses are old. So, and then I'm not gonna want to lay on the floor either. And then if I sit on the floor, my butt's gonna hurt after a while. So the only thing I can do is either sit in the dining room table, or sit in the kitchen. And I mean, she does have I don't know if it would be considered the family room or the living room. I never can remember the difference between the family room and the living room. I think the living room is where the nicer room where you might hang out in there, but not that often. But there is that, but I'm still near the TV, so I can still hear the TV. But she in the table, near the table where we often eat, there's a little TV there so we can watch TV while we eat, which is kind of funny because, she's the type of person who will say, you need to be paying attention, talk to your family while you're eating, and not like be on your phone or be on your, reading a book while you're at the dinner table. And like when it's just me and her, and I'm staying with her, because I've stayed with her before, she'll say something about you shouldn't be reading your book. It's like, yeah, you have the TV right there, and you're gonna be watching TV. Granted, now it's become a staple in a home where people will have their TV while they're eating because they're just eating. They're not gonna be tempted to do anything else. So yeah, it's become normal to have a TV near the TV so you can see, like in a position where you can see it while you're at the table eating. But yeah, so it's like there was not a lot of private space for me to read and tune out the TV when I read, because I try to have the TV on in the background, but I can't do it because it ends up distracting me. So I didn't get a lot of reading. I did dabble in a lot of books and made a little bit of progress in books that I was already in the middle of. And I'm almost done with this. Yay, I'm so close. I'm so glad because I thought I was staying there for up until the 17th or 18th. So I thought I was staying there that long. So I'm off, although they could call me. But I did, they tried to call me while I was still visiting my grandma. They did try to call, and then I was like, well, technically, I'm kind of out of town right now. And so they haven't called me since, which I keep worrying that they might, because considering what's going on in our world right now, people are constantly buying toilet paper and water and all that kind of stuff, all these things that they need, but then maybe by the time I go back it will slow down. But I keep wondering, because I live in a mostly retirement community with some up and coming families. I'm wondering, are we gonna have, how long is this store gonna stay open? But granted, you need this kind of stuff. But if you get it ahead of time, if you prepare, then if the store closes, then you'll be ready. At the same time, it's like, I need to go to work. I'm not gonna lie and say a part of me isn't enjoying the fact that I don't have to go in, but another part is like, but I need to go, especially because I have a convention coming up this summer, and then I kind of splurged a little bit last time I went to Books A Million, as you guys saw that I got that cloth-bound edition of The Odyssey, and I did not realize that I was looking at the British price and the UK price, which was $14.99, while the American price is a little bit more expensive. So I need to go in so I can start making money again. Although I think I'll be getting another statement soon because I worked a lot. I worked quite a bit last week. But anyway, I did, like I said, I did get a little bit farther in this one. Although I didn't read this one as much while I was there, but I've been reading the last couple days. And because I'm off, it's a good thing because then maybe I have a chance of getting this done before I go back to work. I'm off today, and then I'm off Tuesday, and then surprisingly, they did not schedule me to work on Wednesday. I mean, it doesn't mean that they won't call me, but of course, I'm never surprised when they schedule me for Thursday, because Thursday's our busiest day, so I'm not surprised that I'm, of course, on the schedule on Thursday. So much is going. So I am so close to end, and so much is going on, and I'm glad that I started this, because as I came to realize, and I think I talked about this in the last video, that I feel like part of the problem with Lord of the Rings is I didn't get to the books first. I got to the movies first. So it's like, I know the story, I don't want to waste time reading the books, because those are long books, those are chunky books. And this one, yes, there's the TV show coming, but the TV show hasn't started yet. They're working on the casting. Although, I wonder if this will affect it. I think they're going to cancel this. Yeah, because it's Daniel Green did a video, one of his fantasy news videos. He said that they put their filming on hold because of this whole thing. But it's okay because it'll give me more time to read I can start reading the second book. But yeah, I gotta say, I'm like, the love interest for the main character, Ran, Egwene, or I was saying it Edwene before, but Daniel Green's video, he pronounced it Egwene. So I don't know what I'm assuming he knows the correct pronunciation because he's, but maybe that's how he pronounced it. He's always pronounced it, and maybe who knows if that's right or not. But I would think it's a better chance of him being right on the pronunciation than anything else because he's such a hardcore fan of this series. But I don't like how she treats Rand sometimes. Like she's like, whenever he tells her, like he told her he met. It's kind of a spoiler. He said he met the queen's daughter, the princess. He mentions her name, and Egwene's like, oh, who's that? And he tells her, and he's like, okay, if you're not going to be serious about this, it's like, I get so frustrated because it's like, oh my god, he is being serious. What, you find it so hard to believe? And in the beginning of the book, something like that happened too, when he first revealed to her, when she got involved in this whole thing, and revealed what's going on and stuff, and what is suspected of him, and she's like, okay, if you're not gonna be serious about this, and it's like, he's not joking. What, do you find it so hard to believe? Like, does she not believe that there are other girls, even a princess, who would be looking at him? Or that he's actually someone special? It's like she's taking for granted that she's not the only person in his life, that there are other girls that think he's attractive. I mean, and I mentioned in one of my other videos that how there's been a couple scenes where both him and Perrin have interacted with girls and they flirted with them, and the one is thinking, oh, I wish the other one was here because he's so much better at this than I am. It's like, really? Like, these girls are checking you out, and you think, oh, the other one is so much better, and then both of them are thinking that about the other one. It's just so funny that they think that way. But Egwene and Rand's relationship kind of reminds me a little bit of Molly and Fitz from the Farseer trilogy. That whole like when the male tries to tell the other girl the truth, and then she doesn't believe it. She's like, "Okay, I'm being serious." Or if you just want to break up with me, it's like you find it so hard to believe. You think they're so not. They would lie to you. It's like I don't get that when they do that in fantasy or sci-fi. When a character tells them the truth and it's so crazy outrageous, and then they just assume they're making up, and they're like, "Oh, well, if you want to break up with me." That's what happened in the third Back to the Future movie. Like, the Doc Brown tells his love interest, Clara, he finally tells her the truth because he's trying to explain to her, I have to leave to go back to my time because he's gonna get killed by Biff Tannen and Buford Tannen, not Biff, Buford Tannen. He tries to tell her the truth, and she's like, "Well, fine. If you all you had to do was tell me you didn't love me, you didn't want to ever see me again, then at least that would be respectful." Because of course they both share an interest in Jules Verne's work and science and all that, and so she just assumes he's mocking her. It's like, really, a guy is that smart that he would come up with something that creative? I don't know. Maybe because I'm a little biased with the character and I know what's really going on. Like, I'm from the outside looking in, so I understand what's really going on. So, of course, it's easy for me to believe and to know, okay, they're not just lying, they're telling you the truth. But let's see. I also really like, I think I already mentioned this, I really like the wolf power. There's this wolf power where there's a communication with wolves, which, again, another thing that kind of reminds me of the Farseer trilogy, because Fitz has this power, not the skill, I can't remember what it's called, where you can communicate with animals. So it's kind of the same thing. There's a character that has a power that can communicate with wolves, and apparently people think wolves are the Dark One's creatures, that they are for the Dark One, but these wolves, I'm pretty sure they're not. These people are so paranoid. They keep assuming, like, the characters, like all these kids, every time they get caught by this, like, the White Cloaks are another group, which, by the way, the White Cloaks are creepy. They are really weird. I mean, at least those peaceful people that are all about the way of the leaf and non-violent, they seem like a cult, but they're a little less creepy. But every time people assume, oh, you're a dark friend, and it's like, do you even know the difference anymore? But I guess people are so afraid and so paranoid, and considering the world that they live in, they don't know who is a dark friend or not. And I guess if these kids are being chased by Trollocs or Fates, and they just automatically assume, well, how do I know you're being chased by them? Maybe they're on your side. Maybe it's a trick. Because I guess people are so paranoid and so afraid of what's going to happen. What if these people are evil? What if they're for the Dark One and everything? And, and of course, funnily enough, Rand and Perrin and Mat keep getting communications through dreams by the Dark One saying, I know who you are, and I've been following, we keep meeting in different lives, and, no matter what, you'll never get away from me, you're meant to be one of mine. And bad guys are so arrogant. They automatically assume, but I guess that's what makes them, like, because they automatically assume they're gonna win, and then you have the good guys who are so humble, like, they lose faith, and then that's how they get swayed by the bad guys, because they give up and lose faith. So it's, like, easier to surrender to evil, because evil seems to win all the time. So I'm on chapter 45. I did read a little bit last night, but I read up to chapter 45 last night, but I decided I want to finish Every Hearted Doorway first, which, yeah, that's another thing I read. I read the audiobook Every Hearted Doorway, or listened to it. I didn't read it, I listened to it. You gotta be careful with that. You can't say, oh, I read it if you listen to the audiobook, because then you're not technically reading, which, yeah, you're not staring at the words and reading them. Someone's reading to you on audio. Take a sip of my coffee because I don't want it to get cold. Um, yes, I listened to that, and then I already got Among the Sticks and Among the Sticks and Bones, I think it's called. That's the second one. So, and the first one actually, if you have not got into yet, and you are interested, you could, if you don't like the first one, you can read the first one as a standalone. Even if you decide to read through it, you can read it as a standalone because it has an ending, and I feel like it feels complete. And I feel like the rest of the series, you can read them as standalones. And I mean, I've even heard that. Except for there's one, I don't know if it's the one that just came out or another one, where you need to have read the books 1 and 3, I think. Or the first 3 books. They refer to stuff. One of the later books refers to stuff in the first 3 books. So, which that's the thing about companion series is that, yeah, you could technically read them as standalones, but there will be things that are referenced that were in previous books. Although a lot of times, I think a lot of those series are companion series. Like, there's a lot of paranormal series or romances that are like that, where they refer to that you could read them as standalones, but then there are things that are referred to in previous books. But I think that a lot of times authors will reference them, and then it's like, okay, well, I got the explanation. I mean, yeah, maybe I'm a little confused, but at least it got explained, I think. Because I think I've read at least a few books, then it's like, I was slightly confused, but I still kind of was not, like, the Fever, I think it's called the Fever series. It's, by Karen Mooney. It's a paranormal fae series. And I did not realize I was reading the series out of order. But I kind of felt there was a bit of confusion at first when I started reading. It's like, oh wait, maybe this is not the first book. Maybe I should have read. But I think that's when. But again, it felt like I wasn't so lost. But I did, and that's not why I ended up DNFing it. It was more one of those situations where I don't like that kind of stuff. I'm not as into the paranormal stuff. I mean, I like paranormal stuff, but I just rather watch it on TV. But I'm not into that kind of, like, where it takes place in the real world, but there's, like, vampires or fae or something. Even though I definitely like fairies and witches better than vampires and werewolves lately. But I would just rather watch it on TV, or a movie rather than take the time to read a book. Because again, I've said this before, I'm a slow reader, so. And just watching a TV show is, like, more convenient. But anyway, which reminds me, I have to finish Angel Season 4. But anyway, what was I? Okay, I was gonna say, so yeah, I think it's a series that you could get away with. You don't have to read all the books. You can just read some of them and be fine and still, And I've gotten the impression that a lot of people don't like every book in the series because it's like that, where they're all into separate stories, and there might be some links here and there, not just the school that they get sent to, but also other links and stuff, like referencing characters and all that. But I think, Down Among the Sticks and Bones. That's the word I forgot. Not it's between among and sticks and bones. Is Down Among the Sticks and Bones. Oh, wait, or down comes first. Down among the sticks and bones. So I forgot the word down comes before among. I think that's book 2. I have to double check that. Although it's too late now, I already have it on hold on. But anyway, it's funny, last night, because I couldn't sleep, so I just decided to finish it up. I was almost done with it. So, and then I ended up not being able to fall asleep. But I sent it back to the library. I sent the loan back, and then I went ahead and got Down Among the Sticks and Bones, because I think that's the second one. And I thought it said 4 weeks but it actually, when I looked at it this morning, it said 2 weeks. It's like, oh. So I must have been so tired that I misread it. That said 4 weeks. And in fact, I was very nervous because I was thinking about it because for some reason I was thinking I would get the Dutch house in 6 weeks. But no, actually, I'm not going to get the Dutch house until it actually says 6 months and not 6 weeks, which is frustrating. But I mean, it was one of these things where I already knew, but I was still, even though I was having trouble falling asleep, it was late. It was like 1 or 2 in the morning. So it was like I misread what was on my phone because I was so tired. I just couldn't go to sleep. But anyway, okay. So I finished that up, which that was really good. I like the narrator. She had a pleasant sounding voice. And this one is kind of a mystery. This one's an actual mystery. I don't know what the rest of the books in the series are, but like I said, it's like this is basically about our main character in this one is Nancy, and she has gone to the world of the dead and has come back because she was rejected from this world and sent back. And so there's a school, Eleanor Westwood School for Wayward Children, which is basically for kids mostly girls. There are a handful of boys, and they explain this, why there's more girls than boys at the school. But it's for those kids who have gone through doors and can't cope with being back in the real world, back in our world. But she passes off to the parents as a place and in kind of an institute for kids that are like that mentally are not living in reality and need a little help to get back to reality and become the kids that they were in the real world. And so Nancy is, she comes to the school, and she kind of gets mixed up in, like, all of a sudden while she's there, some of the kids ends up getting killed, and parts of their bodies have been taken. Like parts, that have been like her roommate Sumi, who's from, I'm guessing, the candy world, like Candyland. Her hands are very precious to her, and she's really good with her hands. And someone murders her and chops her hands off. And then you have one girl who went to a spider world, a world that's, they have a spider queen and all that. And because it's such a small world and spiders have really good eyesight, she has that special eyesight, and that's why she belonged in that world. And then someone takes her eyes because of that. So it's all about them figuring out. But Nancy, because of going to the world of the dead, she's become one of the suspects. And it's all about them figuring out who done it, who is the one who's killing all these people. And, and Nancy gets involved because she has a respect for the dead. And then you have another girl, one of the twins that people have mentioned in their videos. The twins, I think they're beloved characters, Jack and Jill. And Jack is someone who is also, they go to a world of like a black and white kind of world, like Frankenstein, or a Bronte's sisters type setting. And Jack has a fascination with working with, she's kind of like a Frankenstein type, Dr. Frankenstein type. And she also becomes a suspect too because of her fascination with bodies and taking their, putting them together and creating new bodies. And like I said, she's a very Dr. Frankenstein-esque way of thinking about bodies and stuff, so people automatically assume, oh, you're guilty. And so, excuse me. So like I said, it's pretty fast reading. It's more of a novella. The narrator is really nice. Has a nice voice. It's not a full cast. It's just one person. And is Nancy's character was, not a bad main character. Just not anything super. I mean, her world was kind of cool, but she felt kind of an average, not super special character. Like, the world was interesting. And it's funny because I kept picturing like a cross between when I was thinking about The Lord of the Dead, I was thinking like a cross between David Bowie and I'm trying to think of a really cool, sexy vampire. That, that's why I was thinking like Lestat or Dracula or someone. Although in Jack's sister becomes like kind of a slave to a vampire type in her world, in the world that they go to. They also have, I'm sure you guys have heard this if you hear about this series, that there's LGBTQ rep in this book. And I feel like there's some realistic reactions from other characters about that. Like, there's some characters that are like, cool and whatever about it, and there's some that, like, Nancy is at first taken aback when she finds out, like, a boy that she finds one of the few boys that she meets that he used to be, that he was a girl and went, changed into a boy. And, there is also, like, there's some hate. People are hateful and don't understand it. So some of the mean girls at the school that have been to other worlds are like, you're weird that you were a girl and then you became a boy. That's not right. And, like, I just want to slap that girl. That character, it was hard to feel sorry for her because it was one of her friends that is one of the people that gets killed. And then there's, like, and I feel like the narrator, not only had a pleasant sounding voice, but she was good with giving the characters distinctive voices. The descriptions were quite nice, that I could picture what was going on in the settings and stuff they were in, although I have a pretty good imagination, I like to think. And I was going to say one more thing, and I thought all the worlds were really cool. All the worlds that they described were very interesting. I definitely wanted more. And I can understand people, which I didn't say this on my Goodreads review, but I can understand people that are a little bit, one of their criticisms is it's too short. They want more, which can be both a good thing or a bad thing. It can come off as showing that the writer is so good that readers want more, despite, from the book. But then it can also be like, it can also hinder the book because then it limits how much you're gonna get, and there's so much it can make it feel a little underdeveloped because there's so much that the author feels like the author has left out stuff that they could have put in the story. Let's see what else can I say about this. Sorry, I can hear my other device has a difference. I can hear I don't know if that's my phone or my other device, my iTouch that I use for my iPod. But Terry just sent me a message back. But anyway, let's see, what else can I say? I guess that's it. I don't know what else. I like the characters. I think that's it I can say about that. I have not gone back to the Night Circus yet, but I did read a little bit while I was gone. On the way there, actually, I read up to page 200. I always try to do that, at least sometimes, like read up to the even, 200, 300, 600s. And the circus is doing well. And you can already see that, what is his name? What's our main character? Our male lead's name? I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name. I'm trying to think of Marco's his name. I didn't actually see it. It just came to me. It just popped in my head. Marco. He's already starting to get like really obsessed about what Cecilia's doing, and like his girlfriend. I can't remember her name either, but I'm not gonna waste time looking for it. His girlfriend is Isabel or Isobel. She's there being the fortune teller, and she's been writing him letters about the circus, and he's using that as a way to find out what Cecilia's doing. But Isabel isn't exactly telling the exact details of what Cecilia is doing, so he's getting really frustrated. He's like, I want to know that. I don't care about the circus and what's going on. I just want to know what Cecilia is doing. And you can see he's getting obsessed, and I feel so bad for Isabel because she's a nice girl and very sweet, and she deserves to have a very loving boyfriend. But now he's all into wanting to know. He's obsessing over Cecilia and wanting to know what's going on with her, and like he's fascinated with her, and he knows that she's competition, and sadly Isabel will never understand that. And she definitely deserves better than him than Marco, because he kind of and I definitely I think when I first read this I was like, I don't care about Isabel, go away. But then reading it again now, years and years later, it's like I kind of feel bad for her, and I like her. She's a nice character. Nothing's wrong with her character. She's just someone that needs to, she deserves better than Marco. But a lot of times, I think we do fall for people that we shouldn't fall for because they're gonna hurt us. But we still love them so much that we can't let them go, even though we know that our logically we should walk away from them because they're just gonna hurt us. The heart and the head aren't always on the same page. And also, like I said, I forgot about the character. As I said before, I forgot about the character Bailey. And his and how he's like he loves the circus, and he wants to be part of this. But his father, and he wants to go beyond his own world. This, I guess in a way, the circus motivates him to see the world beyond his own, but his stupid father is like, no, you need to stay here and follow my footsteps and take care of the farm. It's incredibly, I always feel bad for kids in stories like that where the parent is like, oh no, you need to follow my footsteps and take care of the business. And it's like, no, I mean, your kid doesn't have to be like you. If they want to follow in your footsteps, that's great. But don't force it on them because it will make them resent you. But the parents are so focused on what they want for their child, what they think is best. And that's not always the case. They don't always know what's best. I mean, not always, There are times like my parents, I think all I know is my parents usually, they're not those type of people. They're the kind of people that do legitimately know what I need to do to take care of myself. Like, they're not forcing me, like, my mom's not forcing me to go into nursing or anything like that. She doesn't expect that of me because she knows I probably couldn't do it anyway because I am just not that great at science, and you need a little bit of math to be a nurse. But even my sister she's not interested in nursing either. She's kind of leaning more towards my dad's direction, but and then and oh my god, I can't stand there too, like the Hector and the other guy, the guy that kind of took in Marco and kind of raised him. It's like those two are so, you just want to punch them because like they don't care about anyone. They just care about their stupid competition. You have Marco's teacher who's like not barely around. He's absent. Just expects Marco to figure it out because, he's focused more on being a good teacher and for a student to win this competition. And then you have Hector, who's constantly involved in Cecilia's life, but he's so opinionated, and he's like, no, you don't need to work with anyone else. You need to do this on your own. It's like, yeah, but she's still a human being. She needs to socialize. She needs to have a life. And sometimes, and I agree with her, sometimes it's good to work with someone, teamwork. But these two guys are so selfish and self-absorbed and all about their competition and winning and all that good stuff that they don't even think about. They don't consider. Sorry, I want to drink. I don't want this to get cold on me. Because I might get into the habit of doing what my grandma does, which is she'll drink tea, but she doesn't finish it, and then she'll put it in the microwave to heat it up, then she forgets about it. And she heats it up like 10, 20 times. But, I don't know what she does when we're not there. Oh, there's so many other characters. I mean, when you think about this book, you mostly think about Cecilia and Marco in their relationship, but there's so many other characters. I mean, occasionally people will mention their their foster fathers, but it's, well, although Hector is Cecilia's, the book implies he is her biological father. But there's so many characters that I just forgot about, that people don't talk about when I hear about this book that often. Well, I'm sure if I watch more reviews, people would talk about those characters. But that's the one good thing about. So the library was closed today. It's closed until the end of March because they're trying to prevent the spread of this pandemic. If my dad always says, if you just stop for 2 weeks, if you don't do anything, you don't go to work, you don't go shopping, running errands, you just stay in your homes, then maybe there's a chance that this thing won't spread. So so they closed the library, which I kind of had suspicions that was going to happen, but I thought there was a small chance it might be open because of, there haven't been a lot of cases here in this county or in our community. So it's I haven't heard anything. But again, this is a small community, so there could still be something happened. So it's, nothing's been going on, so people are like, okay, well, we don't, so I thought, well, maybe there's a chance it is open. So I went there. I walked all the way there, and then it turns out, of course, it's closed. I had my suspicions. And there actually was these 2 men working on the steps anyway, the concrete steps. So I ended up, I didn't finish my books, but I had to return them, so maybe next time I can get them. But I probably won't come back to that one. Maybe I will, but I should just be like, I might just be like, okay, I'm DNFing. This wasn't a bad book or anything. It was just one of these things where I had to return to the library, and I didn't love it. I wasn't in love with the story, so I'm I might not ever come back to it. I don't know if I would ever think about reading it again. It was kind of interesting. And I don't know, I have this fear that they're going to tell me that you already checked this book out once before, so you can't check it out again, but I don't know why. I probably don't have to worry about that, but it wasn't but some of those books were books I was at the time, at the moment when I first got them, I was like, oh, that sounds kind of interesting, but then I don't know if I'll be interested in reading it and checking it out again. I might just not even after March is over, even after that date, I might not come back anyway. I might not go back there anyway for a while, just take a break from the library again. But anyway, especially now that I got Libby, so I can get audiobooks now from them. So like I said, there's just so I ended up returning all those books. Who knows, maybe I'll get this House of Seven Cables if I ever see it at Books A Million. I might get it then, or put it on my Amazon wishlist or something. That was one of them, and then The Little Bride by Anna, I think it was Anna Solomon. It's about a Ukrainian immigrant, Minna, coming to the States, to I think it was the Midwest, and she's being sold as a wife for this farmer that's a very bad farmer, very inept, and he's 2 decades older than her, and he has 2 teenage sons, and then according to the description, she ends up falling in love with one of the sons. I think she falls in love with Samuel, the oldest, and she's 16 herself, so yeah, it was gonna be very interesting. Although surprisingly, I ended up looking at the Goodreads reviews anyway, just to check them out and see what other people said, because I feel like even though I've said in the past that looking at Goodreads reviews is a bad sign for a book, not always. Sometimes I just catch myself looking. It's not necessarily that I'm going to DNF the book, it's just I see them and I decide to check them out. And surprisingly, there were some 2-star reviews. People didn't like it. Which, By the way, I feel like you should not, especially unless it's like a booktube situation, for a very successful regular author, like famous or not, I don't think you should tell someone on Goodreads that, oh, I'm a friend of the authors, because it's like people might not trust your review. I mean, unless your review still seems unbiased, there's still a chance people might not trust it. They'll think, oh, the only reason why you gave it such a positive review or gave it this many stars is because you're a friend, so you don't want to be. So it's like, I feel like, I mean, with BookTube, yeah, because most authors on BookTube are pretty well known already. So it's like, well, you may as well tell them you're a friend, admit that you're a friend of theirs. I mean, especially with the whole controversy of Lindsay Cummings and Sasha Alsberg sending out the whole Zenith, and I don't remember what the next book is called, and how not everybody loved it. And there were a lot of, it turned into this big thing, especially because I don't know if it was Lindsay or Sasha. I mean, I hope, because I don't know Lindsay, I hope that it was her that got a little too mad, because I don't want to think of Sasha, because I like her channel, I like watching her videos, and she seems like a cool person, very nice. Then I don't want to think about the idea of, even though I'm not like her friend or know her or anything, you know, it's like, it's the same with when you have a crush on a singer or an actor, something you don't want to think about them negatively. Like, I just hope that she's not the immature one who got all overreacted. But, I mean, she's only human, so maybe she did overreact. But I heard that one of them got really mad about the negative reviews and couldn't handle it, which is what I'm worried about. I'm worried that I might get a little too upset. But you gotta get a tough skin in this, whether you're an actor or an author or a singer or a journalist or whatever. If you're gonna publish something or put something out there in the world, and yeah, people are going to be critical. Not everybody's going to love it. Not everybody's going to be like, oh, this is so amazing. It's such a masterpiece. So there was this whole controversy about it, and so it's like a lot of Sasha's friends. I don't know about Lindsay's, but a lot of them were saying, "Oh, well, I admit I am friends with Sasha. So, but I promise my review will be unbiased." But then, even if you say that your review is unbiased, people still might not believe you. So all you can do is just be like, look, yes, even if you don't believe me, my review is unbiased. But I feel like if you say you're friends with the author, people might not 100% trust you. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. And that's what this one reviewer said about The Little Bride, is they said that they were friends with the author, and they received a review copy, and it's like, is that a little risky? Because what if people don't believe your review? And the review was like, I think 4 stars, so it was a positive review. I mean, so I don't know if, how critical it was or not, but anyway, I just find that, I find that's a little tricky, if you admit that you're friends with the author. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is that I made the most progress is, although I did read a little bit more of the Poppy War as well. I read a little bit, and I feel so bad for the main character, Ren, because people keep saying, making her feel bad and thinking, oh, you just got lucky, but that does not, it takes more than memorization and just getting lucky to survive the school. And it's like, really, these people are drilling into her head because they don't want her to succeed. So they are pointing this out to her, that you can't do it because, it takes more than this and this to survive the school. And she has not had any training or anything. And I feel, I can't stand these people. These people are so... But then it's funny that even though you push someone, a lot of times it has the opposite effect, where if you push someone down, that they will work harder. And I think that's why the people that want you to succeed, sometimes they give you tough love because they know it will motivate you to work harder. Not always, but sometimes it does. It makes you want to prove yourself, be like, no, you're wrong, I can do this. Just because I'm not from your world, your kind of society, doesn't mean I'm not capable. And then I read a little bit of that, and then I'm also done this. Okay, so as far as this, I've gotten to the part with the, basically now Odysseus, he's on the island of, what is his name? Let me see if it says, because in the chapters, like where Alcinous, he's on his island and he's telling everybody his story, about his experiences, because there are people that provoked him and were like, oh, you're a warrior, I bet are you capable of this, can you do this? So finally he decides to start sharing some of his past experiences while traveling. So he talks about the whole island with the Cyclops, and he's a little shit, because he first of all, they get trapped by the Cyclops, and he was picking up some of Odysseus' men and basically slamming against the wall, so they basically die, they get squished to death, and then he eats them. So Odysseus was like, oh crap, we gotta get out of here, we gotta figure out a way to escape. So he decides to trick the Cyclops. He gets him drunk on wine, and of course the Cyclops is gonna drink a lot of wine, and he gets him drunk. And then he basically, he's too drunk to really concentrate and to pay attention. He's like, my name is Nobody. They call me Nobody. And he gets him and some of his crew pick up something and stab a Cyclops. And it's a Cyclops, so he has only one eye. So they blind him by stabbing him with something. And that's how they escape. And they were able to get back to their boat. But of course Odysseus is a little bit of a dumbass, and he starts taunting the Cyclops, and the Cyclops throws something in the water, and the water, it splashes so hard that it creates a wave that pushes the boat back to the island, but then they get away again, they sail away again. It's just the dumbass that that Odysseus is he was tell everybody that you got blinded by Odysseus. Why did you do that? Why did you tell the Cyclops your name? I mean, come on, did you forget why you were I'm Nobody? Because of course when he tells him he's Nobody, and then he gets stabbed, and the Cyclops is screaming and crying, he's oh my god, I'm blind, help me out, to his fellow Cyclops, and he says, they're who stabbed me? He's nobody stabbed me, and of course they're oh, well then, nobody stabbed you, so you are just acting weird. So because he says nobody stabbed him. And so Odysseus, so it's why did you tell him your name? It's and then worst of all, the Cyclops reveals, guess what? My daddy's Poseidon. And Poseidon, of course, if you know your Greek mythology, and like I mentioned in one of the other videos, that Poseidon is the one who controls the sea, controls the water and everything, and so he's I'm gonna make sure Poseidon prevents you from going home and making this trip rough for you, and of course, you know how that turns out if you're familiar with this story. And it's why did you say anything in the first place? You should have just gone away. Why'd you have to taunt him? It's and even his crew are Odysseus, come on, they try to prevent him, and they're dude, shut up, come on, let's just go. And of course Odysseus is all caught up and all proud of himself that he escaped. It's really? You had to do that. And then the next chapter, of course, is the whole chapter with Circe, which is what the book Circe is about. It's a retelling. It's the story of it's her part in the Odyssey, but from her perspective. So I cannot wait to get to that chapter, to get to the original inspiration for this. So yeah, I love this cover. I love it. I love the color and the waves and stuff. I think that's so pretty. I'd love to get more of these, but you gotta be careful. I mean, this one the original price was $25, but it did the price at Books A Million, I think, was a little bit cheaper. Like I said, I'm also a member of Books A Million, although I will lose my membership and have to renew it. I lose it actually in May, which is my birthday month, so I'll have to renew it at some point then. But you do get a little bit of a discount on your books, automatic, 10% off, I think. And then, of course, there's always, you get coupons and stuff like that. But the problem with those is you have to get like 25 or more to get the percentage off. And I don't do that. I try not to do that. Although I'm definitely doing it more. Because I'm thinking, no, I have a job, so I'll always be getting money in. But, I mean, you gotta work. And I have not worked. So that's why I'm a little, like, even though as much as I like being off and being home and being able to do what I want and just chilling, I'm well aware that I still gotta work. I mean, the money does not magically appear to me. I mean, I still gotta earn that money. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna try to finish in the next couple days. I'm gonna try to finish this one. There are only 53 chapters, and I'm on chapter 45, so I'm gonna finish this one, which would be awesome. Give me a good feeling. Although, because when I spend so much time with a book, I feel weird when I finish it. Like, on the one hand, I feel triumphant. On the other hand, it's kind of sad that I'm done with it. But on the other hand, but then at the same time, it just feels really weird. It's like, oh, I'm done. Okay, and what now? What do I do now? Which I guess is the equivalent to a slump. Maybe that's when, although I'm able to jump into a new book after that, but right away. But maybe in a way that's closest to a slump feeling I'm gonna get. So that's what's going on with my reading. If you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification below to see when I post new videos. And I would love to hear what you're reading currently. Feel free to share in the comments below. And I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!